so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens. Echo Base Network. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
Hey, happy Friday, guys. EBN cast. The show was not canceled. For a little while, I thought it was just going to be me and Loki doing it solo today, but I was not canceling, even though I didn't sleep for jack shit last night.
Dude, sounds like me for like the last 3 days. I got the first good night's sleep yesterday.
Yeah. I was wondering if you were, because I know HCast was canceled yesterday. Culture wasn't feeling good, so I didn't know if Culture was going to be here. I know John was going to look at a house, but he made it today also. So welcome, John. Welcome, Culture.
Yeah.
I hope you're feeling better, buddy.
Oh, yeah, much.
Good, because I thought you looked a little gloomy last week, if I'm being honest. Try to
it's the problem is that when you get older, you don't sleep good, and
very true.
I'm 1,000, so I really don't sleep good. So, but
yeah.
Hey, there's like a blue line and stuff over me.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, hey. Oh, okay.
There we go.
All right.
All right, guys. Real quick, 4 ways you guys can support us here on the channel memberships. You can join us on Patreon, where we put tons of stuff we can't post here on YouTube. All the Andor reactions are over there. I still have not seen the 7, 8, and 9. I'm so checked out of fake Disney Star Wars. I'm just not excited, honestly. So I'm not.
Welcome to the club, Nick.
Yeah,
dude.
I am completely black-pilled. So our stream last night, just real quick. Before I get into that, so yeah, you can join our Patreon. Tons of stuff over there, and you can actually just links for all this is in the description, and you can actually go in there and just follow us on there. Even if you don't sign up and join, you can just kind of see all the content that we post over there. And then, of course, super chats. If there's a comment you want to make or a topic you want to hear our thoughts on, that's a good way to do that. And then, of course, just being here and smashing that like button. But yeah, so last night for our weekly stream right here, Darth Maul's lower half. Nick, missed you yesterday. So so I was not on stream last night. So I was doing some work tickets and trying to get some stuff knocked out for work before I jumped in. Then when I did jump in, Coach had already started pop-ins, and I was just chilling in the back. There wasn't room to bring me in there talking about Andor, and I hadn't seen it. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and just jump out because I had some other work crap I needed to do. So, yeah, that's why you guys did not see me last night. Also, GraphWeb, most consistent man on the interwebs for $2. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus, or just don't ever sign up for it like me. I've never subscribed to Disney Plus ever, not a day in my life. So there's that. And then, of course, Hampton finally caught alive. Good afternoon. Welcome, Hampton. Good to see you. Glad you are here. But yeah, so that was kind of what happened last night with me not being on the stream last night. Let's go ahead and just jump into these topics, get this show started. So this first one, again, I thought it was just going to be me and Loki today, and I was like, you know what? I've been watching the shit out of Matt Cave Gaming's Final Fantasy remake journey, or it's just Final Fantasy VII journey in general. He went all the way through Final Fantasy VII OG, then did Crisis Core, and is now coming to the end of remake. And it has been a fun journey to watch. Him getting into, he's completely invested in the story and these characters. And if you guys haven't played it, it's a must play, in my opinion. I think Loki would agree, right, Loki?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Final Fantasy, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I just kind of wanted to hit on it. But Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 English voice recording may have already started. The English voice recording for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 may have already begun, judging from a recent social media post. As reported on Rest ERA forums, Cody Christensen, who plays Cloud Strife in the remake trilogy, recently shared an Instagram story with a caption that suggests the voice acting is recording lines for the character, or the voice actors recording lines for the character. Considering the story was confirmed to have been completed a few months back, it's not unlikely the script has also been finalized, thus allowing the voice recordings to begin. Of course, very little is known about third part, except that its development started before Rebirth launched last year on PS5. As already mentioned, it was confirmed a few months back that the plot for the game is complete. So on, so on. I'm not going to go into the whole article, but seems like voice acting has started. We're getting closer and closer to Part 3. This is my most anticipated game in the next 5 years out of anything. This is the one thing I'm waiting on. I hope they do it justice. I've been happy with the first two, Remake and Rebirth, so far, other than some small, minor, nitpicky complaints, especially in Rebirth with the DEI Chocobo Mary Sue. Loki knows what I'm talking about with that. Which,
Wait, there's a DEI chocobo?
No. It's a writer. So there's this chick
Okay.
that is like, I was born to like whisper to chocobos, and I knew everything about racing chocobos, and no one had to teach me, but I'm too afraid to get on her because she almost ran over me once. It's the dumbest,
it's so
idiotic.
dumb. And the thing is, the game it's not like a side quest. It's like right when you get into one of the main areas, and it kind of forces you to go through that. And I'm just like, what is happening here? Oh, fast
The biggest
forward.
low point in the entire game.
For
it's the
sure.
biggest low point.
Yeah, I was just like, this is dumb. But other than that, the game's freaking great, and it looks great. And I still love it anyways. But yeah, like I said, I'm excited for this. Culture, I don't know. Have you played this? I know Culture does a gaming channel, but I don't know.
These Final Fantasy games have always been hit or miss with me. I'll just be right up front. The combat style I don't like.
New ones or the new ones? Is that what you're talking about?
I really haven't liked the new ones. The older ones I enjoyed, but they were still hit and miss because of the combat style. I just didn't like it. But we'll set all of that aside. And I not a big inventory management or time management style game player or whatever you want to call it. But what I do enjoy is the stories. The stories in these are incredible, and there's so much lore tied up into the Final Fantasy stuff. In fact, I could just watch essentially cutscene movies, and I'd be thoroughly, entertained. But what I like is that they're trying to, with very few exceptions, like the one you named just a moment ago, they are at least trying to make it, better as far as the quality of the game and the polish and the finish and whatever other terms you want to throw at it. And they're not trying to dump a bunch of this political stuff in it. I think Square Enix and some of these other developers that make some of these games that everybody considers classic, I think that they're really seeing the writing on the wall when it comes to the fans. The fans don't want it. They won't tolerate it. They don't like massive changes in the characterization of their characters. And if it's something that people like you, Nick, and a few others are super excited about. I don't know about Loki's opinion. I'm sure we'll find out in just a moment. It's not like him to hold his tongue very long, but honestly, and again, Loki and I do a lot of video game videos together. But when I look at this, I'm like, if this is consistent with what the fans want, that's all I care about. That's all. I'm an advocate. I'm a consumer advocate. Yes, I do analysis on the business side of the decisions that I think are just asinine. But in this particular case, if something you're looking forward to, it's something that a lot of the people here would be looking forward to. I hope it's good. I mean, and at least we know it's moving forward because they're already doing English voice dub. So there you go.
Yeah. John, any thoughts on this? I don't think you've played any of these, have you?
I have. I played the first one,
remake,
whatever the first one that was still available on PlayStation 4. I did not play anything after that, like Intergrade or whatever, the Rebirth. I haven't played any of those.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 isn't like my favorite. I like 12. I like Evil East, the Star Wars one. I like the medieval kind of ones where they're obviously Evil East has starships and everything like that too. But
6
I don't know,
was really popular.
Yeah,
a lot of people argue 6 was the best one.
Yeah, I've heard that. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, just to kind of what Culture was saying, I guess, about them learning their lesson. I think they learned it really well when Forspoken completely cratered. I wish they would.
They shut that whole studio down.
Yeah, they absorbed it into one of their others. I think they absorbed it into their main studio. Obviously they did shut the studio down. Yeah. And then I wish though that they still have some of this stuff in there with the body type stuff. We saw that with the Dragon Quest HD 2D remake. I wish they would get rid of that stuff. I really think that stuff needs to just go away. So there's still some of that there. And obviously what's good signs is that clearly some of the original creators are just like, why are you guys even doing this? Why are we doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Can we please stop doing this? Yeah. And it does seem like we are seeing a trend where it's like, we need to stop appealing to Western audiences. We need to start looking back to Japan, making games for Japan. You're seeing a lot of kind of commentary on that as well. And I think that's really what like Western audiences themselves want. They want to see a lot of that stuff that was made for Japan, and that's why it was successful. I think because it wasn't really made for that Western audience, and I mean that's what I like. I mean that's why I left PlayStation and I started playing Switch games, because all the actual Japanese games were on the Switch. I think Loki knows that full well as well. So I definitely feel like that's good. As far as Final Fantasy VII, again, like I haven't played anything since then. I am interested in the rumors that they are doing. I think there's like a rumor that Final Fantasy IX remake is in the works. And then they're also talking about maybe doing another Final Fantasy Tactics game, which I feel like they've completely dropped the ball on that in that entire genre, because that entire genre has basically exploded. Fire Emblem has done really well over on the Switch. There's lots of mobile games that are like making a lot of money as well. I mean, Loki plays Super Robot Wars. You got, I do too. You've got G Gundam Generation. They just came out with a mobile game, but you also have the PC games. There's all the Warhammer games like that. I mean, that genre has basically exploded, and probably the most popular game in that genre is Final Fantasy Tactics, is stuff from Square Enix, and they've completely abandoned it. So I think that's unfortunate that they've done that.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
They think that the turn-based combat and all that is going to be boring for people, and I think Expedition 33 just blew that out of the water. I
Yeah, I was just
expect to
getting ready to say
see
that.
more
Yeah.
games like that out of Square Enix in the future, because now they
I've
know,
heard,
yes, there is an audience that wants to play these games.
I've heard that again. I've heard that narrative before, but I mean, there's so much other the Expedition 33 narrative. But we've had Persona 5, right? Persona 5 was one of the best-selling games of like the last decade, and not only was it a best-selling game, but it literally allowed them to spawn all of these like spin-offs within the Persona 5 world. So they were able to do a Tactica game, they were able to do a Musou game. I mean, they did all these other different genres too, and I think Square Enix just really lost the plot with that turn, with like abandoning turn-based style combat too. I actually like the Gambit system in Final Fantasy 12. I know that's not turn-based, but obviously there's like lots of strategy and everything involved.
Yeah.
I don't know what the combat is for these newer games. I did play the remake, and I thought the combat was fine. It was very similar to what was it? There's like Ni no Kuni. If you played that game, with the
it
White
reminded
Witch.
me a little bit of like Devil May Cry.
Okay, I've never played that one.
And they had
But,
some of those systems from Chrono Trigger in it too, because you can do combos and you can with different characters, and there's some cool additions they made with Rebirth.
So I do think that they need to get back to some of their tried and true stuff and get back to like classic turn-based. I mean, that's really that I really love classic turn-based stuff. And again, we see that these are some of the most popular games out there. Even when you look at the mobile games, I know Nick, you used to play that Star Wars mobile game that they have where it's the turn-based.
God,
I don't remember. It's Galaxy of Heroes, right?
Yep. Galaxy of Heroes, yeah.
And those are some of the most like revenue positive games out there too, and they're turn-based. So this idea that turn-based isn't what people are looking for, I just find it like ridiculous because there's so many popular turn-based games. I mean, Pokemon, the most successful, one of the most, I think probably the most successful video game franchise like of all time is a turn-based game. Yeah, they're Donovan's on that as well. So they just, I don't, whatever reason they wanted to chase like action RPGs, they wanted to chase Western audiences, and they completely abandoned their bread and butter. And maybe it seems like they might be finally deciding they need to turn things around. We'll see.
Yeah. Loki, thoughts?
I've got almost 400 hours into Rebirth.
Same.
So I've got a little over 150 hours on PlayStation 5. I've got over 200 hours on PC. A lot of it is really good. There are some low points.
The mods make it so much more fun and a whole different experience.
Mods on PC give you a whole different experience. There are people that are like, oh, this person didn't have this kind of ending. Oh, this, that, or the other. This is the end of the game. No, it's not. No, that didn't happen. So I'm excited to see 3. I can't wait to see what they do. Hopefully they are still around to finish this game. I really think me and Culture have talked about this multiple times. I really think there is a crash coming for the video game industry. The writing's on the wall. I'll get into that a little bit more when we hit my topic, but I hope we get it. And I mean, Rebirth for the most part is like a 9 out of 10, except it's got some points that are absolutely aggravating. And there's not a lot of people that 100% it, like me and you did, Nick.
Yeah.
That miss out on a lot because they didn't do that. So.
Yep. No, I 100% agree. Let's see. Let me remove this. Real quick. Mexican Iron Man in the house. Member for 52 months. New show, Star Wars Casino. Watch live as Culture goes back in time to defend, I think he meant Alderaan. The catch, Mexican Iron Man superglues Culture naked to the planet Capitol building with the target on forehead for Darth Vader to aim.
Well, at least I'd be the first one eliminated in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, true.
Like millions of voices crying out and then suddenly going silent.
Yeah, and Cultures would be the one voice that
I would be the one
outshined all the millions of other voices that cried out in terror.
And then you could become a Force Ghost and absolutely annoy the crap out of Mexican Iron Man for the rest of existence.
Yeah.
Mexican Iron Man. I am not your father.
All right, guys. Moving on. Loki, you got yours ready to roll?
Yeah. Okay, so I don't have anything to share on the screen.
Right.
If you guys want to do your own homework with this, by all means. But this is all the information I've got. Obviously, GTA 6, the trailer dropped Wednesday. Everybody's going nuts. But let me break
First
something down
$100
for you.
game, possibly.
First $100 game, possibly. But before that, let's talk about GTA 5 really quick. Came out in 2013. Came out on PS3, Xbox 360. Go Culture.
It will be $100 for just the standard. Sorry, guys, it will be. Yeah,
that's what I believe. I believe that as well. But from 2013 until now, we've had multiple iterations of the game. We had Xbox 360, PS3. We had Xbox One, PS4. We've had PC. We've had a PC Enhanced Edition. We've had Xbox Series X. We've had PS5. Over the course of the last 10 years, you are looking at $10 billion in revenue. Over $2 billion of that came from game sales. Okay, so if you take all the additions that we've got, over $2 billion in revenue from the game sales. Everything else, that $8 billion that we're missing, came from Shark Cards, that came from GTA Online. All that revenue came from an online edition of the game. So when you're looking at all that, you got to take that into account. If you want to do your homework, go ask AI, go ask Grok, be like, how much did this make? We're closing in on $10 billion. GTA 6, I have no doubt, is going to sell. You've got people that are shilling for it. You've got people that don't care whether they pay $100, $150, $200, $300 for an Uber edition. Doesn't matter. They are going to buy it. The question is, does it have the legs with its online mode to make that extra capital? Right now, before it's even released, it's almost at the $2 billion in production cost. That's $2 billion they have spent making Grand Theft Auto 6, with an estimated $250 million for the next year to refine it before it comes out.
Damn.
That's $2.25 billion before the game's even out they've spent. That means they've outspent what they made on GTA 5 in game sales. Not Shark Card sales, but game sales. They have to make up that revenue in game sales. Then they have to make up what they're going to spend on all the online garbage with Shark Cards or whatever they're going to call them. They have to make more. They have to make $20 to $30 billion for this to be profitable for them. That is a lot of scratch for Rockstar to make over the next decade. Can they do it? I don't know, but they definitely can get the game sales. Will it be as successful as GTA? That's the big question I have. And that's the question a lot of others are having right now. I don't know if they can do it. I think they can match the game sales, but I don't know if they can match the online sales.
Yeah, my quick thoughts on this is that, you know, we talk about this with the Hollywood studios and, you know, movies and entertainment, how the budgets for a lot of this crap that they're putting out there is way too high. You know, Captain America 4, Snow White, Thunderbolts, like all these movies that they just spend millions upon millions of dollars on this garbage, and they're just losing money. The budgets for a lot of this crap is just outrageous. They need to find a way to bring it down. Same thing with the freaking gaming industry. That is insane that they are spending this much money on this game, and I don't know. You know, people have been waiting on this game forever. So I think it's definitely going to sell. But if it has a bunch of this, what we've heard is woke DEI crap in it, word of mouth is going to destroy this game. And they're going to lose so much money. But I don't know. Time will tell. We still don't know that much about it. Like I said, I did meet one of the developers for the game. and he seemed pretty excited. Of course, he's going to be biased because he's working on the game, but he was excited about the game, and it's like everybody's going to love it. He was talking about how they had it set up to where when you go in the strip clubs, like you can make it rain on the strippers and all this different crap, that they're adding to the game, small stuff like that. And so I liked GTA 5, and I'm not going to pre-order. I just refuse to pre-order games anymore unless it's just one that I'm 1000% like. I will pre-order freaking Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 3, but I might wait a little while on 6 and kind of see what people are saying before I spend $100 on this game.
Like I was saying, GTA 6 online is going to determine whether this is a success or failure. It's not going to be GTA 6, the single player experience. It will be GTA Online 2 or whatever they end up calling it.
Right. Yep. Culture, thoughts?
Well, I'm hoping the same thing Loki's hoping. We don't end up with the wokeification of this game. I think it would destroy it, and I think it would destroy Rockstar's future, and I think it would make a laughing stock out of Take-Two. Rockstar was never headed in the wrong direction until they were acquired. And the brothers were working together well, although they'd shed some talent, and we lost Laszlo and many other people during the course of the wrap-up for Red Dead Redemption 2. Moving forward into what was supposed to be a game that really should have been in development all 12 years that it's been since we had a new game, which will be 13 by the time we get to actual release date.
They delayed it till what, next year?
Yeah, it's
that'll be 13.
It's a year from now. It's actually a year from a couple days from now. But anyway, when you look at how out of cycle a lot of this stuff is, I don't think anybody is going to be surprised if there's evidence of woke elements in the game. In fact, I don't necessarily believe that this delay is because they're going to spit and polish it. I mean, they may do some of that as well, but they may have to do narrative replacement in a lot of different places, because if it doesn't feel authentic to GTA, it's going to be received negatively. Do you know how I know that they know that? When they dropped this most recent trailer a few days ago, despite just a few days before that telling everybody, suck it, it's going to be another 4+ months from the original release date. What that tells me is, or it's actually more than 4 months, isn't it? But anyway, what tells me that is they released this particular trailer as all masculine. It gave us the male character's backstory. It gave us really great graphics. It gave us something we hadn't had for a long time, attention to detail. And whether that's cutscenes, which is what it was, or we have that naturally blend into gameplay, which it's going to need to do to satisfy fans.
That it did.
Huh?
I think someone said, I think I saw a report that said that it did feature like significant amounts of gameplay. It's just undiscernible.
Oh yeah,
when he's walking through the front door of the house, and when he's driving, all of that is in-game footage. It's not cut.
So if that's the case, then I'm overjoyed for that element. The problem is, what are they doing to the story? And if they don't have the same lengths of GTA 4 and 5 worth of singular person gameplay, you're going to get bad word of mouth on this game. Yes, it's going to have to rely heavily on GTA 6 Online, or it's going to have to metamorphize into whatever the GTA Online thing is. In order for this to work, they're going to have to get all their money from those shark cards. And it's something that I think Loki and I had guessed at previously. I have no other expectation than for this to become a massive online thing that rivals World of Warcraft. Okay, it has to. In order to survive, you're going to have archetypes and heroes and all kinds of other things that you make for yourself, where you actually get to interact with the heroes and villains of this game that's coming out, and maybe past ones as well. They will have to metamorphize this into a MMORPG. It's going to eventually have to go that way. and it's going to rely heavily on shark cards. The economy will be driven in that way, and they're going to have to figure out how to not explode the economy like they've done over on the current version of the online game. I think that's going to be their biggest management challenge, and it's going to be their biggest problems. But like I said, absent a real playable story that eats away most of your life that you have left on this planet before you're forced to play the online stuff, you're going to get negative word of mouth. I'll be one of the first in the door to start yelling at this game because, to me, I need the characters. I need the characters' backgrounds. I need characterizations. I need to play through their growth. I need that. This is a playable film as much as any other game franchise ever has been, and it owes a lot of that to Max Payne's kind of a delivery. You know, you wouldn't really have a high quality GTA if you didn't have the somebody else producing Max Payne and so on and so forth. I mean, you always evolved in games, especially Rockstar, but at this point, the only reason they've spent $2 billion isn't just for the reasons that Loki said. It's because they had Take-Two's backing. Because I don't think they would have had the access to resources and capital.
Very possible.
Just my thoughts.
Yeah. Real quick, who drank my beer? The game ain't even out yet. For fuck's sake, give it a chance. I don't think any of us here are not giving it a chance. I think we're just literally just talking about, how this game could be successful and what could happen for it to not be successful.
I don't.
Money talks, and that's the fact. I mean, they made close to $10 billion on GTA 5. If it does not make double, triple that, Rockstar will look at this as a failure. Those are just facts. It has to make that money for them to continue to do this and continue to back it, make, Red Dead Redemption 3 or whatever they're going to call that. It's got to make that revenue for them to continue to do what they do.
Yeah. And the modded community for this game is huge. Like GTA 5, man, I don't know if anybody has played it on PC and seen the mods out there. The list is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages long on mods for GTA 5. The modding community is insane when it comes to this game. So, I mean, I hope it's successful. I hope it's great.
And Rockstar took all that down at one point. They threatened to sue those sites, and eventually they backed off and let them do it. But I mean, there were lawsuits pending. Sites had to take down all their mods because they didn't want anybody messing with their games.
Yeah, I know the developers of Stellar Blade were talking about, not releasing on Steam or on PC because of the modding community. I'm like, the modding community makes the game more fun and you get a different experience. Like, studios should not ever try to silence and shut down modders. I love freaking modded games. Yep. John, thoughts on this before we move on?
The fact that it's going to have like woke stuff in it, I think is just that's what it's going to be. I mean, Andy Pants Gaming has a really good breakdown of this over on his channel where he talks about all the changes that they made with GTA 5, how they removed a lot of different things, how they definitely protect certain types of people that they wouldn't have done in previous games where they would have mocked them or allowed players to do things to them that you can't do that anymore. So they've already been implementing a lot of this stuff in GTA 5 and the online mode and everything like that. And he makes pretty persuasive arguments that like that's who Take-Two, that's what Rockstar is now. So the fact that if they're already doing that in GTA 5, why would they not do it in GTA 6? So I think that's definitely going to be there. I think.
Yeah. I was just going to say that's one of my biggest concerns with this game is how much of that and how much in your face is that stuff going to be in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I also feel like too, you see this already. I mean, I know a lot of people are probably going to hate on me for this, but I mean, you have the female protagonist, right? When has a GTA game really had a female protagonist? I know there'll be arguments about the Bonnie and Clyde stuff, but I definitely feel like that is a huge sign that they're doing that instead of maybe doing something like what's the Al Pacino character in the where he plays like the Cuban.
Scarface.
Scarface, yeah.
Instead
of something like that, right? where it's just where you have that, right? I know they did the 3 protagonists in GTA 5, but previous games were primarily like a single protagonist, male protagonist. So
actually, the first 2 you could pick, and there were chicks you could be.
Okay.
But that was at above ground. That was at above view. That was before they went to
that's like before 3 in San Andreas, right? Where it like blew up.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know how much stock you put in like the into that because I definitely feel like since the franchise has been huge, it has been male protagonist for the most part. So, and I'm not saying I definitely feel like that is definitely a sign that you can see for that. And then obviously you have people saying the Bonnie and Clyde stuff trying to defend it, but we'll see what happens with that. But that's kind of my thoughts on that. And I think the financials, like Take-Two is not looking good. Like they need this game to make a lot of money. They are burning like insane amounts of money every single quarter. Like it's crazy how much money they're spending.
I would like to know
a lot of money.
I would like to know what the break even for them on this game is.
Yeah. I think it's more than 10 million units. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They spent $2 billion. So they've spent $2 billion now. They're looking at spending another $250 million over the next year on this game. So that's 2.25 million or billion before they even release the game.
Yeah. One of the other things I think is like I saw people talking about like the bubbles in the beer. I'm just like this is really pathetic if this is what we're talking about. Like bubbles in the beer. Like wow, we're really reaching for something to have a conversation about. We got to point out the bubbles in the beer. Like that's not like something that really like intrigues me when it comes to game player story, right? Like who cares what the bubbles?
To me, I mean, a certain amount of digital fidelity or visual fidelity is important. Those little nuances, things that don't exist in other games. I like all that stuff, right? But at the same time, that means the game needs to be highly optimized because it's going to need to be able to be playable on all these different platforms. So look, I mean, maybe they are just doing the polish, the spit and polish and shine up on this thing, but I doubt it. For the amount of time that they delayed it the time before this, when they gave us a date and then, or a time frame, not a date. And then we get towards the time frame and they go, you know what? We're going to spit and polish on this some more. They're going to polish something. And unfortunately in this game, they probably were polishing other things at some point that they had to take out. So I have a feeling that, our cause for concern is valid. And I'm going to tell you, if this reeks of identitarian politics, it's going to have a rough go.
It's definitely will turn people off from getting the game for sure.
Last thing on this too is that when the trailer, I don't think it showed really anything about what the game is actually about. They had to release like a bunch of descriptions to explain what the story was, and they should have done that in the trailer. So I think that's a huge misstep on their part as well on that, because they had you had to have like text descriptions. Like none of this was actually kind of communicated through the trailer, and I think they really kind of dropped the ball on that part.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap it up for that topic. Moving along, culture. What do you got for us? Oh,
this
Thunderbolts,
Thunder Avengers,
which actually is not getting destroyed that bad by the people that are actually watching it. The problem is not really.
Nobody's going to see it.
Going to watch it.
Oh, it depends on who you ask, right? I've heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, it's the movie. Okay, so aside from the 27-minute straight of therapy, like that you can't escape from, like, it's like, hey, you're sad, you're depressed, you have a terrible mental condition, you were stuck inside just a few years ago for zero reason whatsoever, whatever you believe in, any of that crap. Regardless, the therapy session goes on too long. The fact that they brought the Void in is a real problem. The movie isn't that bad. It's just not going to be for everybody. And that's the problem with Marvel these days. You have to make something for everybody, not for those that need to go to a therapy session. This 2-hour-long therapy session has 27 minutes of intensity, which is basically a struggle session. with the void or the person in the center of the void. It is rough to live in, folks. And yes, it's not that bad, Tatooine, except that it is. It's because it's not that bad in the sense that it's not a terrible story and it's thorough, complete beginning to end for a change. Not the biggest patchwork quilt ever, like most of the other things, like Brave New Bologna Sausage, but not everybody needs or wants a therapy session, and Marvel's supposed to be for everybody. So, and that's, thank you, Albert Loki. Good to see you. But no, look, I don't mind being criticized. I don't mind people that don't agree with me. What you don't understand is that nobody went to see this because of everything that was before. And the people that did go had very balanced reactions to it. It's why it's not exactly, it wasn't an A+, it was an A-, or was it even an A? I don't even remember on CinemaScore. But the problem is you're always going to get positive when it comes to fans of things like this, because they're fans. They went and they consumed something. It's why we often say CinemaScore can only be relied on when you have enormous numbers of audience, because you need diverse opinions for that system to work. If you were only polling fans coming out of a movie they were already predetermined primarily to enjoy, of course you're going to get A+ CinemaScores, right? They don't have fans anymore. So when you look at the initial box office numbers, and again, that's a hyperbolic statement, but when you look at this, think about it critically. This lost 12 or 14 million dollars versus Brave New Bologna Sausage, which was also a collapse in previous interest.
88 to 74, so 14.
Yeah,
right.
So it lost $14 million, John, and this is where what's important to me as an analyst. They lost audience. They are constantly on the wrong side of the trend with this. And despite what, Iger walked out during a stockholders earnings event or on his phone somewhere, supposedly, maybe it's a digital version of him. Maybe he's dead. I don't know. They marched out as animatronic to tell people that this was a step in the right direction. Nuh-uh. It's going to have at least a 50% fall off this weekend, maybe steeper, but if it holds at 50%, which would be considered a good hold for a hero film, for a superhero film, it's still going to super suck. It's going to super suck because the potential for money is always that first weekend for Marvel. It is a FOMO franchise. It is an upfront box office franchise, and it has been since almost its very inception. Once they got around through the course of phase 1, everything from that point just ramped up from there. They just went to the moon. Now you're not going to the moon. Now you're going, accelerating towards Earth like an asteroid that's about to explode on impact. And that impact is probably going to be felt here with Fantastic Four, which is set to disappoint, which is why...
They're still filming.
I was going to bring that one in, but I'm going to bring this one in because the box office is going to be easy to understand. So if Thunderbolts actually crosses $100 million today, it's still behind the 8 ball. And if it exceeds $400 million global by the end of its run, one, I'll be surprised because it's trending to 385, and two, it will be an accomplishment because it will only at that point lost $200 million. Okay,
yeah, because it has to do 540, and that's even it has to do 540. Based on the 180 million production budget, which is likely low because we know that almost all their production budgets are $100 million off.
Oh, at least, especially the stuff that they do primarily in the UK. And
they're hiding that now because this one was just in the US and that they did their one stunt in Kuala Lumpur where she jumps off the building or whatever. Yeah,
but regardless, you're going to get $10 million of free pub in Kuala Lumpur. But that's set all that aside. This film is an indication that there isn't a pullout for this nosedive, which is why they're doing reshoots in LA right now for Fantastic Four. They can't get rid of the girl boss narrative that surrounds the two characters that are likely to face off in this film. But it's surprising to me that they're just plugging it away like it's going to be a success. Success isn't whether or not you enjoyed the film. There are a lot of films I enjoy, other people don't. I think the greatest film ever made is Showgirls. Nobody agrees with me, and that's fine. But see, I get you all to laugh.
And
But
you're being serious right now with that.
yeah, I am. It's one of my favorite movies. Ask anybody, right? I mean, obviously
It's the
my favorite.
pool scene.
Look, I have the full frame version, so we can talk about that another time.
Is this Showgirls with the girl from Saved by the Bell?
It is absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Actually, the greatest films of the original trilogy, but that's a different conversation. The film that I think is a great, nobody agrees with me, is Showgirls. That's a different conversation. But that's my point. I can love a film in an embarrassing way, and it didn't make money. It did not make any money. So, nobody's going to say to me that Rocky Horror Picture Show isn't great, and the number of times I've seen it and gone and performed and done dumb stuff in college and everything else. But at the same time, I'll say, didn't make any money. In the long run, it did. But these are things we have to talk about honestly. And honestly, if a film doesn't make money, it's not successful. It may be fun. We may enjoy it. But we have to be honest with ourselves, intellectually honest. And studios make films to make money. They don't make it so that you think they're good. They make it so that everybody thinks it's good and it makes money. And Thunderbolts isn't one of those. And neither will Fantastic Four, which is why they're reshooting it more. And it's not, by the way, these are not pickups. I mean, Jordan Rumi's reporting over at World of Real is real honest. There's too much being shot. There's too much being reshot for anybody to call it, pickups. It's none of that. This is hardcore. What should have been done in principal photography kinds of things.
Yeah. And apparently they're already starting Doomsday, and I don't even have a finished script for it.
They didn't have a finished script. Yeah, I did a video on that. Regardless, that's the only reason I want to bring this up is. You cannot call this a success yet. You can if it gets to even. I tell you what, if it even gets to 540 million, which no, but if it does, and they can say it's break even though they're lying to the tune of about $100 million more dollars, then look, you can call it a success. I guess if it makes $1 profit, it's not gonna.
So the one thing I want to bring up on this. Culture, just to kind of add to what you're saying here, is that if you actually look at the numbers, the daily numbers, it did 4.3 million yesterday, Wednesday. It's first Wednesday. That's actually less than Eternals if you factor in inflation. So the idea that it's going to have only like a 50% drop, I actually think that they're being very aggressive with that. I think I have a feeling it might actually have a lot worse drop than what they're projecting because of that bad drop on Wednesday there. And I think it also had a 72% drop from Sunday to Monday, 5 million Monday. It did have a big Tuesday, but obviously Tuesday's the cheap
discount
tickets,
day.
right?
Yeah.
The discount day. So there's that. I mean, and it's not performing all that much better than Captain America: Brave New World on Wednesday. I think it barely did a little bit better than it. But so I definitely
it's doing better than Snow White, right?
Well, yeah. But anyway, the whole point of this was for me to say the trend isn't there. Whereas Minecraft, even though it's slowing, with the addition of several special screenings and stuff where they, have obnoxiousness in the audience, that although slowing down, still has an outside chance at $1 billion. Probably not after. The next 2 weekends. But again, this is the second frame. The best they can hope for is 30 million plus. What happens if everybody's done seeing this on Saturday? I think that's probably what's going to happen. And Minecraft is doing all right. Sinners is about to shoot past 200 million. That means it has a chance at profitability. So good for it. It's got ridiculous holds I have never seen. Clown in a cornfield, nobody cares. And you're about to see the ebb and flow of horror films, unfortunately. Anyway, that's all I have to say, and you guys can comment away. And I'm glad to get pushback from the audience, but at the end of the day, the numbers matter.
Yeah. So I want to bring up one of Matt DeWinn's comments where he's talking about lack of profit isn't due to lack of quality of the movie. It's Disney's alienated too many people and it's too late. This came out 6 years ago. Before the suck phase, it would be on pace for profit. And I agree with that. And I could say the same thing about Disney Star Wars, because anybody that watches our channel knows I'm 1000% black pilled and checked out of any Disney, Star Wars, anything. So, for example, these last 3 episodes of Andor that just came out are getting pretty good response from the people that are watching it. The problem is so many people have checked out. It's just Star Wars has become not profitable for Disney. And I saw one of Matt Tween's other comments where he's talking about, he's not an executive, so the profitability stuff doesn't matter to him as a viewer, which I 100% agree with for sure. But for the studios, profitability is everything. And if they can't make profit, they're either going to end up selling the stuff off, stop making it, or bring the budgets down for this stuff to where it just gets worse and worse, and they just aren't putting money into it. X-Men 97 is another good example. Me and Coach were going through every single episode of that, ready to destroy it because we heard all the rumors. We're like, it's Disney. This is going to be woke trash. And I loved it. The problem is nobody watched it. It just didn't have the numbers for viewership. It wasn't bringing in new people to Disney Plus or anything. But X-Men 97 I thought was great. Disney's, of course, they kicked the showrunner, what's his face, to the curb, and they're completely chopping up season 2 of this. So who knows what that's going to turn out to be? But
well, that guy's got his own problems too, though. So
yeah, for sure. But yeah,
there might be just cause on why he got kicked to the curb.
Right.
We don't have all the details.
Yeah, we don't have the details. We don't know all the info, but yeah, it's not looking good for. But I mean, Star Wars is through their suck phase. People are tuning out. Same thing with Marvel, and it's sad because I mean, Star Wars is my favorite franchise of all time. In the MCU, all the way up through Endgame was freaking amazeballs. I loved it. Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU movie out of all of them.
Ultron was amazeball. Ultron was amazeballs.
No, Ultron. I was not. So that movie was actually on the other night, and I actually watched it. But that was probably my least favorite one.
Captain Marvel.
Well, I did. I still to this day have not seen that. So, but I did not mind her in Endgame where she shows up. Her scenes didn't bother me. The one thing about Endgame was the whole freaking female squad team up there where they just all happen to be in the same spot,
purposeless A force. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the current state of these franchises, just it's in the toilet, and it's unfortunate because I love these franchises, but under the great tutelage of Iger and all the executives over there, we get what we get.
One of the things that Matt Tween says, though, he says what did he say? It's not bad. I think was like one of his original.
Oh yeah, on Thunderbolts, yeah. And I was surprised
the
Jeremy
movie
from Geeks and Gamers actually liked it too.
He says the movie isn't that bad. Well, that's not enough for me to want to go see it. Like, it's just not bad. Is that the level of where that gets us all to come back to theaters? I don't think so. I mean, I think like what you were saying, sure, they had or kind of what I was pointing out is they did have some misses, Ultron, Captain Marvel, when it came to quality. Yeah. But for the most part, I mean, you did have above average films, and I think a lot of the first films were excellent. I think the Thor movie is highly underrated. The first Iron Man, fantastic.
Agreed.
The Captain America, First Avenger, also really, really good, especially when you go back and compare it to the stuff they're putting out now. I mean, it's just so much better.
So different.
It is. And again, just so nobody here misunderstands, I'm not here to yuck your yum. If you like something, there's a reason. It spoke to you. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I don't look at films just in those terms. right? And where John's coming from, I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, John, is that it's not bad, isn't high praise. It's like
You're not even, you can't even say that it's good. You're saying it's not bad. Like, well, that doesn't mean it's good.
But
doesn't mean it's great.
Again,
doesn't mean it's excellent, right?
Yeah, it's again. I guess my point has always been, and again, it's because of how I cover stuff. Okay, I enjoyed that. It is not going to be profitable. There's a lot of things like Fall Guy. I thought that was a fun movie. Thought it was a good time.
I heard good
Didn't
stuff
make
about
money.
it. I've not seen it yet. Yeah.
Did make money. Got wrecked in the theaters. I thought the last Mission Impossible, despite being too long, this next one's going to be way, way too long. But I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good entry, and I thought it's a good film before the end. I think if you're going to do a film before the end, you kind of got to wrap up some stuff because you're about to be wrapping up the whole package in this next movie.
Can I add something to this?
Just disagree with you on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's fine. Yeah, please do. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
It's just it wasn't financially viable, and I just you have to look at the whole picture, or first of all, you're not going to survive in this space, but I just want everybody to know I'm not here to yuck your yum. I want you to like what you like, love what you love, and just remember, I love showgirls. Okay.
All right, Loki. Shoot.
I saw Avengers 11 times in the theater.
Which one?
The first one. The first Avengers. When Paramount was transitioning it over to Disney. I absolutely loved the first two phases of the MCU. Like Nick was talking about when Endgame happened, I thought this would go on forever. Since then, I have not seen Shang-Chi and the many rings and the rabbit chickens. I have not seen Captain Marvel. I have not seen the last Ant-Man and the Wasp. I have not seen Eternals. I checked out in the middle of WandaVision. I tried watching Loki. It sucked giant balls.
Yes,
I could not get through the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier because it was stupid. The fight on the plane, I was like, you just knocked these three guys out, and now immediately they're back up after being knocked out and taking the hero. It was very gay. I couldn't get through that. I haven't been able to watch
the part where he's working with the terrorists.
I haven't been able to watch the others. I just can't because I can't get into it. Guess what this movie means? This movie means absolutely nothing to me. Why am I not going to go see it? Because for the past 5 years, they've given me nothing but crap, which means that my interest in seeing new Marvel movies is dead. My interest in tuning into TV shows about Marvel stuff is dead. Why? Because they pissed all over everything I cared about. They pissed all over all the characters I cared about. They made Thor into some giant blubbering fat ass and did nothing but make fun of him in Endgame.
They did it like multiple times too. Like they had to run him through the same arc like multiple times.
Yeah.
It's like,
and he's come out publicly and talked about that before.
They made Loki a cuck for Sylvie. There's nothing, and Loki was one of the coolest villains you had, one of the best villains you had, one of the most popular villains you had. Humanity, look how far you've fallen. And what do we get? We get absolute shit for the last 5 years, and I'm checked out. I'm not interested. I don't. They ruined Loki and Ragnarok.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, that's something me and Coach have talked about, especially when Disney Star Wars was, really starting to ramp up, some of these Disney Plus shows and stuff after the horrible, sequel trilogy. But, and we've talked about this where, I have such a high standard for Star Wars that mediocre just isn't good enough for me. These next 3 episodes of Andor, will watch them. I'll watch them at some point in time this weekend. But I'm so checked out. I'm not in any rush. I'm literally watching them just so I can talk about it and stuff on the channel here. And I might be like, it wasn't that bad. I'm sure I'll probably have issues with it here and there, but at the end of the day, it's just not going to be on that bar of where I think Star Wars should be. Same thing with the current Marvel stuff.
Can I address what Rob Simmons says in the chat?
Yeah.
He said they thought the goose they would lay the golden eggs. They didn't paint the damn goose. They gutted it, took what they could out of it, and left its dead carcass lying on the side of the road. That is exactly what they did. They could have let that goose mature and keep laying the eggs, but they were not patient. They had to come out with 20 different series. They had to come out with all this garbage, and it overloaded it so much that you're like, even if I wanted to get back into it, and this is what I was trying to say, even if I wanted to get back into it, there's so much bullshit I have to go through to catch up. I'm not going to do it, which means I'm not going to go back to it. And that's how a lot of people feel. We're not going to play catch up for 5 years of woke garbage and bullshit to get back into what's going on. There is no just jump back in and catch up point.
And again, not good enough isn't going to bring you back, right?
And that's the problem. See, this adds to John's point and to yours, Loki, especially. And tell me if I'm wrong, Loki. I'm not inspired to go back and watch any of the recent Marvel films.
Agreed.
I'm not going to go watch anything. Yeah. If I'm not inspired to see this again, and mind you, I have the library digitally loaded up on in the house so that I can turn on any of my favorite Marvel movies anytime I want, just like my Star Wars and any episode of Star Trek or anything else that I love. It's already digitally available to me in my house to stream anywhere, including here. And so if I don't have any of the new crap loaded up there, there's a reason, because it didn't make a positive impression on me at all. In fact, I know there are people who've gone back and rewatched the new Avengers Thunderbolts. We need to change the name because it super sucks. But I know there are people out there talking about that. I released a video about it. But at the same time, I'm not. Who's going back to see that? It's like a handful of people, and it's okay. I mean, again, like what you like, love what you love. That's just not where modern Marvel is. Nobody's going to go back and watch Ant-Man Quantumania or Super Communism or whatever the hell that name was.
Or Doctor Strange 2, which I fell asleep on trying to watch it 3 times.
You mean American Chavez?
Yeah.
Mom. Yeah, it's Marvel's mom. That's what it is. And boy, did it told a story that, man, follow that puppy around. And then take a look at how they treated men just entirely throughout, if you want to see a political reason not to get on board with any of the modern Marvel stuff after Phase 3. But look, we're supposed to be knee-deep in Kang Dynasty right now. There is no Kang, only Galactus, and he's basically the size of the Statue of Liberty in a Ghostbusters movie. That's what we got.
And
we did not get Galactus. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and he's not even in like the main. He's not even in the main one, right?
That's actually true. Yeah, it's absolutely frustrating. And maybe after the Fantastic Four fail in the next film to get rid of Galactus, they're traveling interdimensionally to warn us that Galactus is coming in our timeline, and this is the things we tried, and maybe you guys can be more successful because we did not have enough Mary Sue Storm in our movie. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts before we move on? Big shout out to Matt DeWeen that kept this conversation going. Love you, brother. All right.
So I just do have one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like most of his arguments are like, or not most, but like he makes these arguments as well where if this was done 5 years ago, then it would be fine. Well, sure, but it wasn't, right? Like you can't just erase what happened, right? Like what they did happen. Like they did make Eternals, they did make Black Widow, they did make Shang-Chi, they did make all of these films. We got
right? Ironheart coming, which everybody's excited for.
They made
actually did that.
They made all of this stuff. Yeah.
They actually did that. They made that show? Are you serious?
Yeah, no.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's coming out.
Yeah,
it's coming out. They're promoting it. They're promoting
Yeah.
it now with. They're trying to use Robert Downey Jr. to promote it without him actually doing the press. They're having him be talked about like in a third person
like he's
way.
putting his stamp of yumminess on top of this mess.
But it's
I'm
not
gonna
him
say
actually saying it. It's like someone else saying he said it.
Yeah, and here's the weirdest part about that. This thing has been in the can for almost 3 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and it's going to push a gender storyline, gender ideology storyline.
Yeah, and she's going to be the bestest ever. If you haven't had enough of that in Marvel, she's going to be the bestest ever, even better than Tony Stark and more deserving. Yeah, she's super. She's going to be super.
Key to everything.
Yeah, and the I actually watched Shang-Chi and the Rings movie. And when I watched that, I was like, I did like the movie, but I was like, it's not that bad. Did I like it? No, not really.
Like Thunderbolts,
did I absolutely hate it? No. So everybody was trashing it, but when I watched it, I was like, the chick in it is the one of the most annoying characters in an
come
MCU
on,
movie for
Awkwafina
me.
is great.
No, it's
She's
terrible.
great. Disney loves Awkwafina.
Yeah, but there was some cool stuff in it that I actually did enjoy in that movie. I was definitely one of the minorities there for actually having stuff in that movie that I actually did enjoy. But yeah, overall, current MCU, complete trash and garbage.
Hey, if you were a minority, you could get work in Hollywood, but you're not, brother. Stop saying it.
No, very true, very true. All right, John, what do you got for us?
I don't really have anything. Like I guess let me see.
I mean, if you don't, we can go ahead and wrap up now. I mean, it's after 3.
If we, want, we could go into the Ironheart stuff if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, you got some info on it? 'Cause I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, I can pull that up here because it's exactly what Culture was saying. Like the actress is even talking about how her character is so much better than Tony Stark and all this other stuff. So yeah, here we go. Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh, but I did hear about that Creed Shadows. The player base on Steam is like in the toilet right now. Not surprising at all.
Yeah, 90% decline over on Steam from 63,000 to like 6,000. It's pretty bad. So Dominic Thorne, the chick who plays Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, in the show and in what was the Black Panther, whatever that second Black Panther movie was. She did this interview with Empire. Yeah, Wakanda Forever or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I never did this interview with Empire where she's talking about how Robert Downey Jr. like approves of the series. So this is what I was talking about. I think the White Snake was asking. So it's like it's people talking about what Robert Downey Jr. said rather than having Robert Downey Jr. actually say it, which is interesting because they've done this before. But she says Robert Downey Jr. and I spoke just after we wrapped. And he shared some very lovely words about my journey. He told me how excited he was and that he's rooting for it too. I literally got 2 thumbs up. It's really reassuring to know you're not embarrassing Iron Man. And it's like, this is total canned PR, Marvel press. Like, this is not organic. It's totally a marketing campaign. I doubt that Robert Downey Jr. even said anything like this. Because again, they did this back in 2019 when they were like trying to pitch the character into the movies. You had like Eve Ewing, saying that Downey appeared at this like Gene Siskel Film Center and said that Ironheart should be in the MCU, and she was like posting it all over X, which interestingly enough, she's deleted it now. It's not there anymore. But this is what Culture was talking about. She downplays Tony Stark's accomplishments in comparison to Ironheart's and says, and this is what they do all the time, right? They always try to put down the like main original character to uplift their like diversity hire character or diversity replacement, or whatever you want to call it. And so she does this. She says she's dumpster diving, whereas Tony Stark was this bajillionaire. What she's able to accomplish is remarkable. And it's like they don't even remember what he did. He's literally in a cave in the Middle East putting together all of this stuff and having to escape from that. And they're just going to like downplay all of his accomplishments and try to like demonize him because he he is a successful like businessman, etc. And she's just some kind of like dumpster diving person who's so much better than Tony Stark because she doesn't have all the advantages that he had. And
she doesn't have that white privilege, John. She doesn't have that white privilege.
Isn't that why he was so close with Peter Parker? Because he was like, you're a dumpster diver. Because he saw that, like, oh, well, you're taking this tech and you're doing this and you're doing that. You made your own suit. You know what? We're going to upgrade it because that's what we do. And he saw part of himself in Peter. When the first time he talked to Peter in that little apartment in Civil War.
Well, look, Loki, you know, they couldn't use the adult film plot. That wouldn't have worked out very well for Disney because that's where Ironheart came from, of course. That adult film, which Disney, I guess they've kind of made a lot of phallic things, but I don't think they want to really put that in public display. Regardless, I think John also to point out that didn't he also have to like against the Mandarin, the actual Mandarin, or didn't he or this third fake Mandarin? I don't know. Anyway, didn't they have to
in the third movie where he loses his suit?
Yeah, and he has to work with that boy. He has to work with the boy to like recharge the suit and stuff. Yeah, and he was this is where I thought was hysterical. They're like, let's chickify and weaken Iron Man by giving him a mental complex. That'll be fun. So maybe Tony Stark goes, comes out of the void somehow, and it was his therapy session. Thank you, Sentry. No, of course not. That would be something ridiculous they could probably try. But regardless, John, how bad do you think this series is going to perform for Disney minus?
I think it's going to be the worst performing series ever for them.
Even compared to Miss Marvel?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Worse than Echo. It's going to be worse. It's going to be way worse. I mean, it literally has this this plot here in it where they like talk about trans kids and trans teens see something to look at and know they exist. You've got this other stuff here too. This just came out like in September. They're saying that she's going to be
terrible
this year. That I think that's from the Wakanda Forever movie.
Yeah, which I
so I didn't see that one either. But so I mean, I can just imagine it's just going to be.
She's a bisexual character.
Yeah. She's bisexual is what they're saying in this rumor. So it's going to be pretty terrible. And the fact that they've delayed it so long, I think they know. They should have just scrapped it. They should have done what Warner Brothers and Zaslav did with the Batgirl movie.
Batgirl. Yeah,
shut it
down.
It
was pretty much done, and they're like, nah. It's going in the trash.
But I think the reason why they aren't doing it for this is because there's then like a tacit admission that this stuff is trash, and like I think it harms the Marvel brand even more.
Do you think like Echo? Do you think like Echo? This is going to get the Spotlight label. That's the one and only series. That's the one and only series that got it. No, that was it. It's the only one they've ever had. Marvel Spotlight Echo.
Probably. I mean, I'm sure it'll have like on their like Black Voices thing that they've got on there, which they put like Black Panther and those other movies or whatever that they do for that stuff. Is there a specific?
Yeah, that's okay. So you know how you have they have a theater plate that they use or a nameplate that they use on different things like Marvel Studios, Marvel blah 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 whatever. They actually released Echo under Marvel Spotlight. Remember they also planned a Marvel Dark Universe with that they were going to give us on this stuff. That was back when Gunn was going to still be with them. But but anyway, there was dividing up the MCU, and these shows are supposed to feature these different titles. But the only one to release under the nameplate Marvel Spotlight was Echo. Is this going to be one of those? We know this is dog crap Echo. Are all of these episodes dropping? Are all the episodes dropping at once? I can't even remember that detail.
I don't know. They're clearly doing that with Andor now, right? They're releasing 3 a week. Like,
have you seen how that has not done any favors for them as far as the numbers go? It is like the least viewed piece of garbage ever.
In Tales of the Underworld, they dropped the whole entire thing all at once.
Here it is.
Which I still haven't watched it.
Here's the Andor stuff. I don't know if here it is. So this is the season finale, the single episode season finale from Nielsen back in 2022, 674. This is the second week, but it didn't even chart in the first week. So this probably and Illuminate is weird. So I think it releases on Tuesdays, right? And Illuminate ends their tracking on Thursdays. So this is likely most of this is from like those first 3 episodes,
right?
And even then, it's only at like 481.3, and that's like what 3 hours. So it's really, really bad. The average time. I mean, this might actually be what was the last one they did? The Goonies one. I don't even know what it was called.
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, Star Wars.
It might actually be performing worse than Skeleton Crew. We just don't know because they're releasing 3 at the same time. I mean, it's atrocious.
It's dog duty.
Yeah,
and they're trying to spin it like, oh, we lost culture.
Oh, we lost culture.
They're trying to. I mean, remember this was supposed to be a 5-season show as well. They cut it, and then they were going to cut it to 3. Now it's at 2, and now they're releasing 3 episodes at a time to try and boost these numbers, clearly and artificially increase it. I mean, everything on Disney Plus that isn't their like animated movies and stuff like that, no one's watching it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the current state of these brands. Because I guarantee you, if this would have came out, say right after, there he is. He's back. If this would have came out, like say after this Mando season 2, the viewership numbers would probably be way higher right now. But there's been so much crap that they've put out to where, you get people like me to where it's just like, I just don't care anymore. Yeah, I might watch it and be like, yeah, that episode was pretty good. But, it's like there was like one episode of Bad Batch season 2 where I was like, this is probably some of the best Disney Star Wars writing I've seen. There was no Omega in it. I forgot what the name of the episode is. It was just a single episode just on what's the bad guy?
Sniper.
Yeah, the sniper guy. I can't even remember. But anyways, and when they were talking about dropping these 3 episodes on each one, I was like, oh, they're trying to get those viewership, those watch minutes up so they can spin it and be like, we have 5 trillion views on these first 3, but the most watched show on Disney Plus ever, and even with the 3 episode drop, with each episode being almost an hour long, there's still are having, low numbers. I mean, it obviously charted here, but overall,
it was 3 episodes, right? So like 3 episodes, 480, and obviously we're a little bit apples to oranges here, right? Because it's a different data tracker with Illuminate. But I mean, this was a single episode right here, finale for the first season, 674, and actually increased. We saw viewership increase over season 1. Interestingly
word
enough,
of mouth for it. People are like, "Oh, I'm hearing good stuff about this," and the writing and everything. And so people tuned in and jumped in and checked it out after the show was over.
And clearly, they couldn't even keep those people all around, right? I mean, because we were seeing like massive declines here for this show, and then they had the whole outrage marketing, and I think that just turned people off, which shows that audiences are wisening up to that stuff too, because they try to do that with the sexual assault scene in the 3rd episode for the 3 episode premiere. And I just don't think that actually drove any viewership. And I definitely think that's what the whole point, that's what that was Tony Gilroy saying something absolutely insane to try to get people to tune in. And it clearly just didn't work at all.
I actually tuned out. That'll be the last Andor episode I ever watch. And it might be the end of me watching Disney Star Wars. I was just done. And I'm afraid that a lot of the audience may have had this similar reaction. I mean, it just
So I started episode 7 yesterday. I was trying to get all 3 of them watched before our stream last night. Man, I fell asleep during episode 7. I heard 8 and 9 are a lot better, but I didn't even make it that far.
Can you guys answer this for me? Because I don't watch this shit. Is it true that she's an illegal immigrant and her empire boss uses that to try and grape her? Is that really the...
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
He first attempts to coerce her through like blackmail, basically. And then when she like resists, he tries to physically attack her.
Yeah, but
that's not political at all.
Yeah, but I will say this. So I heard about that from Chris Gore, and I was like, oh Lord, just what we need in Star Wars, a great scene. And so, but I watched the episode, and for personally, for me, the way they did it, I honestly didn't think it was that bad. It wasn't hardcore, like like an actual hardcore grape scene. So, but yeah, I still don't believe that it belongs in Star Wars for sure. Yeah, for me
No,
personally,
it has no place in Star Wars. I mean, you
no,
can touch on
no,
those themes, which George did in Return of the Jedi with Jabba the Hutt and things like that, without actually having to depict it the way they did. And so that was an intentional choice that they clearly made to do that. And I'm sure people will say, "Oh, well, it's supposed to be a mature Star Wars show, etc." Well,
yeah.
I mean, I think the original trilogies have lots of deep themes that
Very
adults can
mature,
get
deep themes for
lots
sure
of value
in the
from,
OT,
and
yeah.
you don't have to be depicting stuff like that.
Yeah,
I can't watch that. You can't watch that with your kids. Like, I mean, I know you don't. I don't know if you have any. Nick.
No,
I can't sit and watch that with. I can't sit and watch that with my children. I mean, and so that's what Star Wars used to be. It used to be family entertainment, and it clearly is not with the show anymore.
Yeah. So, real quick, the White Snake says Andor episode 8 is the best one so far, which again I've not seen yet. But this is something we talked about on Doomcock stream Wednesday night. Is Gary Ambrosia brought this up. 7 and 8 might be the best episodes in the entire series so far, but you have to remember, it took you 7 hours to get to 2 good hours of this show, which has got a ton of people pissed off. That's the most frustrating thing for him when we're talking about it. He's like, yeah, 8 and 9 actually weren't that bad, but I had to sit through 6 or 7 hours of this to get to this, and that's just unacceptable. And I said, I was like, when this show drops, there'll be somebody that will go out there and edit this thing down to about a 2.5, 3 hour movie, and they'll cut all that other crap out, and it might be, watchable at that point. I've seen some fan edits of some other stuff, which I still didn't like, but I thought it was way better, like Kenobi, Ahsoka season 1. Even editing that stuff, it still doesn't make it good, but a lot of those edits do make it better.
It's a problem with streaming in general, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, but I think that there's something to be said for that, though, because I think I could probably take the 12 hours of this bologna sausage and edit it into something that would be watchable. It'd be a 2-hour movie at that point with no fluff and circumstance in it. But the last thing we need in Disney is that. I mean, what's next? What's next for Disney? Disney is airing a lot of things that are absolutely gross and filthy on their Disney Plus family streaming service. When
Ironheart, man.
When they have Hulu. Hulu
Ironheart
should be
culture.
Stop it. Yeah.
Dude, what they're doing on Hulu is nasty too. I mean, I read about what they did in that Handmaid's Tale show. Oh, it's awful. It's sick stuff, man. It's just disgusting.
I haven't heard anything about that.
Oh, it's degenerate, man.
I might have to look into that. All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we wrap up and close out the show today? No. All right. As we always do here, links to all these guys' stuff is in the description below. John, tell everybody where they can find you, what you got going on, coming up, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me here on YouTube over at the Trent Report. Cover lots of this pop culture stuff, and then do other culture things as well. Usually celebrities and things like that, but covering lots of different things over there. And then obviously write a lot of stuff over on Fandom Pulse. Usually have like between 5, 6, 7 articles a day up there that I'm writing. And then if you're interested in stock car racing, specifically dirt late models, I have a channel that covers a lot of that stuff too. You just search my name, John F. Trent, that should pop up.
Yep. Loki, what do you have going on? Late show tonight, right?
Late show tonight. We just did a big rebrand on the channel. We went from Loki's Mornings of Mischief, because I don't really do a lot of mornings anymore, to Stone Cold Loki. We've been doing video game playthroughs. Just did a playthrough with my Inferno-based sorceress on Diablo, which is already at like Paragon 100, so level 170.
The first Diablo game?
No, Diablo 4.
Oh, Diablo 4. Okay.
That's been less than a week.
You ever see Elon on there?
He ain't got shit.
Yeah.
We're already at level 100 and what are we at? Like 160 after less than a week. So we are cruising along really nicely. We're about to hit Torment 2. Things are going pretty good. So we'll have more of that. We're going to do Expedition 33 playthrough. We are definitely doing Doom: The Dark Ages as soon as that
I
releases.
saw the trailer. I saw it drop. I haven't watched it yet, but I saw it out there.
It looks good. It looks like it's going to be a lot more tanky than the other two games, but the other two games were a lot of very fast movement, speedy, strafing. This is going to be a lot more tanky.
Yeah.
That obviously we'll hit that before it comes out, so we should have some gameplay for you with me playing before it comes out. And tune in for your video game news. I've been covering Grand Theft Auto 6. We've got other stuff coming down the pike, so if you want to like, share, and subscribe, thank you. I know this guy is or that guy or wherever he is has been, he's got that gameplay. So check me out over there whenever we decide to do another live again.
Well, actually, we're going to be doing another live here in the short run very soon. We're also got some videos coming out there again, so stay in tune. That game place is back active again. Thank goodness. After a little hiatus here and there. Again, when I'm not around, it doesn't seem like a lot happens, but do check out this guy because he's great. Anyway, back to that. Do check out that game place. And of course, do check out my main channel, Culture Casino. There's a lot of information on there. I make sure I drop something each and every day, whether it's a live stream or a recorded video. We will have something else coming out today, probably along the lines of some things we talked about with how miserable Marvel is right now. I used to call it Dismal Disney, but, the Disney is, it's dead. To be fair, it's killing everything else along the way. But do check me out, and do check me out on X. I seem to be saying a lot of spicy things that people are enjoying, what people would normally call engagement texts or messages. Got more coming out, some more questionable ones. Saw one that I'm going to add that is I talked my husband into a second wife. Yes, that's going to be coming on my X here pretty soon. Yeah, you're going to love that. What? We got some that's not me. That's just one of the things I'm going to have people comment on. It's crazy stuff I'm finding these days. And and the reaction channel is going to be out there.
Post articles.
No, although those are fun. But we may get one of those. I don't know. But I promise you that in the next couple of weeks, when we get to the launch of the reaction channel at the end of this month, it's going to be insane. And most of the people that'll be working with me on that are going to be ladies. So you're going to get a lady's opinion on those things. So on that note, thanks. I always have a great amount of fun here, and I appreciate the audience for their pushback on the things that we say, because that actually makes the show go.
So, yeah. Yep, absolutely. We are not an echo chamber here at Echo Base Network. And hell, we've had shows where we've disagreed with each other on here. the one when I had Culture and Mr. H and R&B on here when we were talking about alien
Romulus.
Romulus. I had brain fart.
That's not surprising. Yeah. R&B has interesting takes on movies. I'll say that, to be nice.
Yeah. Well, he was pushing back. Nate was like, "This movie's great." And R&B was like,
interesting.
Okay. I almost walked out of the theater.
The first half was good. I will say that. Yeah. The first half of Romulus was good. And then they started copying everything from other alien movies, and I was like,
Yeah. I appreciated a lot of the movie, but at the end of the day, I definitely had issues with it. The stuff with Prometheus and all that crap they brought in, I was just like, oh, I hated all that crap. Like, leave it out, But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to smash that like button on your way out. Go check out all these guys' links in the description below. And until next time, as we always say here, we are, you are, Echo Base Network. And we'll see you guys later.